Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. What's going on, everyone? You're about to hear Rogan. In this podcast with Andy Stump, you're hearing Rogan take big swipes at pharma. He's talking about the media. In this clip particular, you're about to hear him pick apart the media because he's obviously still pissed at CNN for what they did in terms of that filter stuff that they did to him. And he's going to talk about the mainstream media. He's going to talk about pharma. He's going to talk about how people are now being exposed to the machine in a way that we have never really seen before. And everyone's getting fed up with it. Myself included. I'm sure yourself included. And oddly enough, with this Andy Stump guy, who is this Andy Stump guy? Let me just see real quick. Who is this guy? Ex-Navy SEAL. There he is. So Andy Stump, ex-Navy SEAL, Cleared Hot podcast. Seems like a really good guy. Seems like a really great guy. But he is trying to diffuse Rogan from talking about what he's talking about. And it really does make me think of the whole thing of like, once you join one of those agencies or the military or this or that, you're always a part of it. Just really odd. Maybe he's just scared of the conversation in general. But let's get into it. You guys already saw the screen I brought up. Let's switch over. You guys know about the store, Soul Not For Sale t-shirts. It's summertime. Get a Soul Not For Sale t-shirt. My newest design, The Great Resist. You've heard of The Great Reset. Do not join The Great Reset. Join The Great Resist instead. Thank you so much to anybody who's purchased anything off of the site, even a mug. I mean, it all helps. You have no idea. Even we lose money on the mugs, but still, to just know that somebody out there has one of them, it means the world. You have no idea. But let's get right into this video. Let's go.
Things on YouTube, they would get you pulled. It's because they're sponsored by pharmaceutical drug companies. That's why. It's not because they care about you.
I found so Mike Tyson's Clips channel didn't get this taken down, which is this.
Oh, that's the CIA. Did the CIA kill?
This also.
Vaccines can harm you and your children.
Doesn't have many views.
Well, we should fucking not let any people know about it. They'll take that down too. They probably don't know about it yet. I mean, I'm sure it's, we're dealing with the government. They're goofy. They probably just want the whole episode down. They didn't understand clips. Fucking dorks.
But here's the thing. If the government isn't smart enough to understand YouTube clips, how the fuck are they hiding alien spacecraft from us?
It's a different government. That's like saying people. If people are so stupid that they smoke meth, how are they figuring out satellites?
Because some people are stupid and smoke meth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some people are stupid. They're in the government. And there's the guy they tell to contact YouTube to take down true information because it doesn't fit with the narrative. That guy's probably a dope, and he probably doesn't understand that Mike Tyson also has clips. He does now. We probably fucked it up for everybody.
Sorry, Mike.
But we have to in the interest of discussing this.
Yeah. I wish that the government was as capable as...
I just have to interject real quick what they're talking about with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's interview with RFK. I made a video about it. You can check it out. RFK is being silenced on YouTube. Interviews that were done a year ago are being taken down, and they did it to Theo Vaughn, and now they've done it to Mike Tyson as well. Just wanted to give you that background real quick.
People think...
I think parts of the government is capable.
Yeah.
I think
there's well, I would say this. I think there's highly capable individuals in every segment of government, but the larger piece of the government that they work for is probably less effective.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not optimal, but they're really good at some things, And I think what we're dealing with now is human beings are now exposed to the machine. They see it in a way they never saw it before. And I think that's what makes this time so interesting. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know how that's going to play out. But I think people are more aware now of how fucked things are and about how shady these fucking cunts that are running the news organizations are. They're so bought and paid for. They're so compromised. They're so full of shit.
It's actually hard not to see it.
It's hard not to see it.
Like if you look at it with even a fraction of a degree of objectivity, it's, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's really, really hard not to see it on both sides for clarity.
Oh, 100% for clarity on both sides. I would have never thought this 5 years ago. I would have thought they're definitely biased. You got Fox News is all on the right, and and you got all the other ones that are on the left, and they have their own agenda and their own opinions on things, and a lot of it's silly. But I never thought it was as transparent as I do now. And I think part of that is me personally being attacked by it and watching it take place. Like, oh, you guys just lie. You just lie and you don't make any sense. Like if you cared about people, you would analyze what happened. Like if you're a young, healthy person, I'm not even young. I'm 55 or 54 when this happened. Like how in danger are you? And then if you look at the actual stats of how many people actually died and how many of them had comorbidities, it's 94%. It's something bonkers.
Yeah.
And it's not just one comorbidity. It's a minimum of 4 comorbidities or an average of 4. It's a shit ton of people that were really, really sick already, that already had fucked up, compromised immune systems. And you've got these people that were doctors that are fat and they eat shit and they don't take vitamins and they don't exercise and they think that an injection is the thing that's going to lead you to health. Like it's one of the dumbest ways to approach a complex, nuanced situation, which is your own metabolic health and your immune system. It's complex. It requires a lot of maintenance. You've got to take care of your body because it is literally a biological machine. And you got these assholes that are dumping cheeseburgers and fucking milkshakes into their biological machine, and they just sit around and do nothing.
Good.
Tastes good. It does taste good. That's
So
why it's
good.
look, I'm pro milkshake. I am. I
What's
like
your
a
favorite
milkshake
flavor?
every night. I like all of them. I love all of them. I like
Vanilla.
strawberry.
Less artificial colors. Healthiest of milkshakes.
Really?
You see what I mean, though? You see what I mean? Like you hear what he's talking about, right? Like you can answer to any of that. You can speak on anything that he just talked about. He talked about news, he talked about big pharma, he talked about stats, like he talked about so many things. And you're just like, oh, the milk, what's your favorite milkshake? Like, are you for real? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, let him go. Like, if he's ranting about something, let him go. Leave your milkshake talk out of it. It just seems like this military guy, and he's a great guy. Like, watch his podcast. He's great. Look him up. Great guy. But it seems like he's trying to diffuse the conversation and stop Rogan from really going into a real rant about certain things. He does this a few times in the podcast. I'll let it go for a couple more minutes or maybe 1 minute.
I guess.
I have to assume milk is white.
I guess, but I mean, how bad are artificial colors? Are they really that bad? I think they're probably bad if you drink them. Drink them all day.
I don't know how you ingest a milkshake, but
I mean, a lot of artificial colors, I'm saying, if you drink a lot of it all day.
so to your point though,
I think
like,
it's bad for you.
so how do you, when you see information, how do you vet it? So again, to go back to people are probably
I'm very fortunate that I know a lot of people. So what I do is generally, if something comes up in the news and I'm like, what is that? I'll contact some very intelligent people that I know.
who are the apex of that.
Yes.
What would you recommend for people who either don't have that access or fall back into that category of what we were talking about earlier? They're busy all the time, working a job to fucking pay their bills.
It's hard because there's not a source that you can absolutely trust that's giving you objective news. If there was, I think it would be very successful, but it would be very hard for them to get sponsors because if something came up and say if there was some new pharmaceutical drug and it appeared at least initially that there were some very adverse side effects and that they were trying to obfuscate, that they were trying to like cover this up and that in your job is to try to expose that, but yet those people advertise on your channel. That's where things get real slippery.
Yeah.
And then you talk to the people at the CDC or the FDA and they'll tell you, they'll inform you, no, this is propaganda and this is safe and effective. And then you find out there's a revolving door with the FDA where they go right from the FDA right into these crazy jobs at pharmaceutical drug corporations and make fucking shit piles of money. Like what? How is that legal?
Or they have names on the patents of the medication while they're still serving.
Yes, like Moderna. Like they had a patent on the Moderna vaccine. Like the whole thing is fucking crazy because there's.
Yep. Crazy. I'm glad that Joe didn't let him just like keep steamrolling that conversation with like nonsense. He like got right back to it. He was like, yeah, I'll give you a little milkshake talk, but now we're getting back to it. And touching on a few things here, you know, what he said about people being exposed to the machine. Like it's so true. We've never been this exposed to it. To where, you know what, I shouldn't say, because we've always been exposed to it because it's right there. You know, you turn on your TV, you turn on your phone, it's there. So we've been exposed to it for a while. I think it's never been as blatant as it is now. It's never been so blatant. And honestly, and not completely, but a big part of that was Trump. Trump coming out and being like, that's fake news, you know, even if it was a joke. which it really wasn't. It was funny that he called it that, but he wasn't joking, and he wasn't wrong. And I think that was a big part of it, because then a whole side of the political spectrum of people, like in terms of like, you know, whether you're right or left, a whole side was like, fake. Yeah, fake. Yeah, it is fake. Then people started looking at CNN and MSNBC and all these platforms that were really going at Trump. They started looking at them a lot differently. They started realizing, I went to the rally and I heard him say this, this, and this. I'm watching this on, you know, CNN, and they're saying a bunch of stuff he didn't say. You know, people really took to Trump, and people really listened. They hung on his every word. So now, if you're a news outlet and you're saying anything that's to the contrary of what they know they heard, now you're looking at it like, this is fake. What is this? You know, and you know, Andrew Tate says something very wise. He said something. He said, and he used Donald Trump as an example. He goes, if you see a man in the mainstream media and he's being attacked by the machine and they're saying that he's a very bad man, he said, do you think that that man's a very good man or a very bad man? He goes, if you look at who the mainstream media holds up and praises, and usually they're bad men, but the mainstream media is saying that they're good men. He goes, what does that mean about the men that they say are bad? And it was just this thing to think about. And he used Trump as an example. He goes, so do you think Trump is a really bad man? Because the mainstream media keeps saying he's bad, he's bad, he's bad. Or does that possibly mean that he's actually good? And then he also brought up, he's like, anytime you see somebody who has the people's interests at heart, they're branded as bad. Anytime you see somebody who's doing things that are counter to the narrative that's going on, they're branded as bad, crazy, racist, misogynistic, indictments, all sorts of stuff are happening to them. Saw the same thing happen with Tate. Obviously, you know, for some people, Tate could be very questionable because of the charges that are up against him. But, you know, when you look into it, there's no real proof. But he's labeled as a very bad man. Rogan himself was labeled as a racist. But when you watch Joe Rogan, like I have, like so many people have, and you watch every single episode, and then the media says this man's very racist and misogynistic, you kind of go like, no, he's not. He's intelligent. He has very intelligent conversations. He's very open-minded. He has a lot of conservative values, but also he has a lot of left-leaning values. He likes to joke around. He's funny. He's humorous. He's good-hearted. You know, because you're watching it so closely. Again, I bring up that thing. Like, if you're listening to someone's every word, and now the mainstream media brings this counter, and it's like such a far contrast from what you know, you start looking at it and you go, huh, what's going on with these guys? I think that's what it is. It's been made so blatant in our faces. Because the people that they're speaking on, we have so much access to them. You know, you don't even just have access to Trump. You have access to everything he said. You have access to every rap lyric that he's been in. You have access to every picture he's been in, where people who now, you know, brand him as evil are in pictures with him smiling. Like, you have so much access to people now. It's so much easier to come up with your own opinion. And then to another thing, what this gentleman said, Andy, when he brought up, like, how do you go about finding your news? Or finding, like, sorting through the sources. I actually have an answer for this because I have to do this all the time. And honestly, it's independent journalism and it's mainstream journalism. You have to look at both. I think that's the problem. But also, it's not a problem because you can do it fairly easily nowadays. You can find 5 sources that you trust that are independent journalists, you know, redacted, you know, maybe me, Tucker, like whoever you have in mind. You know, I just want to throw my name in with those people. But whoever you have in mind, you have those sources. You listen to them on a certain topic and then actually listen to what the mainstream media is saying and find the little bits of truth, you know? Like, find where everybody's telling the truth and start figuring out your own story. Start figuring out, not your own story, but your own, start to piece it together yourself. Start to read between the lines of what everybody's saying. If you see somebody's passionately against something, well, it's like, still hear them out and then take this little bit that seems like it might be true and now actually look into it and see if it is true. If the mainstream media is branding somebody as horrible, bad, racist, misogynistic, all those things, look into that person. Then find some independent journalists. You know, it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it. You know, the best thing that you can be, aside from just, you know, a healthy person, you know, well-rounded person, is a informed person. So yeah, it might take you a couple hours to kind of find your footing on a certain subject or topic, but it's worth it because then you'll understand. You know, it's like those people when Facebook said, here's your Ukrainian background for your picture or whatever, your little branding, you know, turn your picture like, you know, blue and yellow. Those people that just put it on blindly because it's the new thing to support, and then it changes to the next thing. It changes to the next thing. That's nonsense. Those people are just going with what's being fed to them. Don't be one of those people. That's how I think people should kind of go about this whole thing. And it's hard, but again, worth it. Informed citizens. Informed citizens can change the entire world. The entire world. An uninformed citizen is dangerous because they'll allow things to happen. They will get angry at certain people for reasons that aren't real. And that's very, very dangerous. You don't want to become one of those people. I talk about it all the time. At one point, I thought Jordan Peterson was racist because I was listening to somebody who was taking gender studies and they were severely on the left. And I just took it in as he's racist. I don't want to hear that guy. He's a teacher. I don't like teachers. He's racist. Whatever. And then all of a sudden I had a friend who I respected. And he's like, oh, racist. What are you talking about? He's great. I looked into a couple of things. The guy changed my life. You know? I love this clip of Rogan. Again, you'll hear Andy Stumpf. I have another video I'm about to do on Andy Stumpf right now from this podcast where I'll just say it to you guys now. He was talking about if people found out who was on Epstein's fly list, that nothing would happen and everything would just be business as usual. And I was like, what is this guy talking? He's just weird. It's just very odd. I don't know if he just has odd takes because I haven't taken in his podcast that much, or if he's like literally the military guy. You know, I get a little conspiratorial. Is he the military guy that's trying to like, you know, diffuse people? He knows 11 million people are listening to this, so he's just kind of like, let me just throw this into the atmosphere of people, into the mindsets of people. I don't know. But I just wanted to show you guys that. Hope you enjoyed. Like the video. If you've watched to this point, please like the video. It helps so much. You have no idea. Share it if you can. If you have a friend who likes it, maybe you just want to annoy one of your friends who's like, you know, into zero truth teller type of content. You just want to annoy him. Just throw this video at him. Why not? It helps so much. You have no idea. And other than that, I'm out.